Hey there, I'm Cody and we're here at Lincoln Avenue Nursery in Pasadena. I'm going to take you kind of just on a little walk around and show you some plants. So really what we like to use is the more drought tolerant style plants. We don't really like to use shade plants or really the bigger flowering plants. A lot of them have the potential to, get scorched pretty easily in hot weather and all these types of things. So we try and stray away a little bit from that. We can still use them if you have a shadier property, of course. But we really want to stray away from that. So, here we have, some geraniums and hydrangeas and other plants like that. We're not really going to want to use stuff like this very often in our designs. If you need it, we can give it to you, but we really try and stick away from them. There's that coming all the way from here. So now moving on to things that can take a lot more sun and can take a lot of the dry desert heat that you get in California. We have some salvias and sages here running all the way through here. These are all the 1 gallon size plants. So that just means that this can hold a gallon. So that's a 1 gallon size plant. It's going to be pretty underdeveloped. They can actually get scorched a little bit too at that size. So a lot of the times we do recommend going up to the 5 gallon size if it's a budget and everything like that. So you have a few of those coming through here. More plants I don't want to use really.
And why is that?
I mean, the main reason for not wanting to use a majority of the large flowering plants and the more shade plants is in a lot of Los Angeles yards they're just not going to do very well. And they don't really go with kind of really a modern aesthetic. They don't go with a modern aesthetic really. So it's just a matter of what are you trying to accomplish? I can give you some of those, but I'd really like to give you something that you're not going to really have to maintain or deal with or worry about. Here we have a nice one. This is a salvia. Okay. Wait, no. I'm going to kind of redo that. Oh yeah, salvia amistad. So, this is a pretty nice one here. It's a salvia amistad. Again, it's in the 1 gallon bucket. I'd rather get some bigger ones. But you can see some nice dark purple flowers in there. It's kind of a... It's actually kind of a standard that a lot of the smaller flowers on plants and a lot of like the honeysuckle type flower where you would see hummingbirds and other things be attracted to, that kind of flower is usually actually the more drought tolerant kind of flower, not the big crazy ones that just get scorched by the sun, but these little these little ones that pop out like that, those are usually like salvias, sages, and lavenders and things like this. Those smaller flowers are usually the ones that we want to go for. So here we have, these are just kind of seasonal flowers, most of these, like those and these. We don't really like using these really in any circumstance, especially the ones with the flowers here, because they're actually mostly meant to just brighten up a doorway or a pathway, and they're only going to last for several months, if that. I'd rather brighten it up with something that's going to last longer, so some people like the style, totally fine. I can do it for you if you want, but I'd really rather get you something that you don't got to touch, So moving on to the more fun stuff, here we got a whole few rows of all sorts of succulents and cacti here. And I can show you a few of them, give you a couple names. Let's check it out. So here we have, this is an echeveria. Most plants with this style where it looks like a big flower, it's a succulent, right? It's an echeveria, which they just have a broad variety of different types of echeveria. This one has little red tips on it. I like it. We got the white one here. We have the afterglow there with the pink. All very useful plants, extremely drought tolerant, and usable in almost any style of landscaping, really. It can fit in almost anywhere. This here is a ruffled echeveria. This is kind of a smaller one. These are smaller than the 1 gallon size. So a lot of the times with the really small succulents, like about this size succulent and these succulents here, I like to use them more for accents along pathways or in really confined spaces or pots. I'm not really gonna give you a whole yard full of little tiny succulents. I think that'd be silly and you wouldn't get any boldness with it. You know, little accent here or there, totally fine, but I like using these in confined spaces. Once you get more to this size, you know, about a 5-gallon size, this is obviously a great accent for almost any yard. This is about a 1-gallon size. These can get a little bit bigger in a 5-gallon size, like that one over there maybe. You know, so those are a much better size to start off with if we're really doing a vast majority of your yard. We got some aloes through here. We got some small paddle plants here. These are great. But again, I'm not going to use these in a whole bunch of situations. I'm not going to use these actually. These are a little bigger. I might use these for some general accents. You know, but all these little ones, kind of just accent plants.